Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping right into a really fascinating narrative. It's a deeply insightful parable that breaks down exactly how our perspective fundamentally shapes the reality we live in every single day. We're going to examine how the mental filters we choose to wear can completely obscure the world around us and, more importantly, how simply taking them off can instantly change our lives without actually changing a single external circumstance.
So here's a question to kick things off. Why is it that some people who have absolutely nothing are always smiling, while folks who seem to have everything are constantly complaining? I want you to really chew on that for a second. Think about your own mindset. How often do we let minor inconveniences dictate our entire mood for the day? Well, to really get to the bottom of this, our source material introduces us to a guy named Fyodor.
And that brings us to Section 1, the illusion of hardship.
So Fyodor is a really interesting character because he's not an evil guy and he's definitely not lazy. He's just fundamentally deeply unhappy. He genuinely believes that his constant everyday complaining is simply him being honest about reality. He actually thinks anyone who isn't complaining is just faking it. Every day is just a litany of complaints for him. His house is too drafty in the winter, his garden is way too small, his wife Varvara is too tough on him, the kids are too loud. Every morning he looks at his life and just sighs. But actually, scratch that. Look at his actual baseline of stability. He has a home that is standing upright, he has food on the table, he has a devoted partner and healthy, energetic children. His mindset is acting as this heavy filter, blinding him to all of this stability because he is just entirely hyper-focused on these trivial little frustrations.
Let's move on to Section 2, the Stranger's Challenge.
One autumn evening, this wise traveling stranger ends up staying at Fyodor's house, and after listening to Fyodor complain all the way through dinner, the stranger does something pretty unexpected. Instead of leaning in and validating Fyodor's pity party, he simply points out the undeniable facts of his wealth. Your kids are healthy, your wife is well, your roof hasn't caved in. Then he hits Fyodor with a specific investigative challenge to see if his life is truly as unlucky as he claims. It's a simple plan. Step 1, walk 3 versts down the road to the neighboring village of Krutovo. Step 2, talk to the very first 3 people you meet. Step 3, listen closely to what they say. And Step 4, return home. The stranger doesn't promise some magical overnight cure, but this simple 4-step plan takes our narrative from stagnant complaining and turns it into an active journey for hard evidence.
Which brings us right into Section 3, Encounters with True Resilience.
Okay, so Fyodor heads to Krutovo to gather his data, fully expecting to find people who are either way better off than him or just as miserable. Instead, the very first guy he meets completely shatters his worldview. He runs into Ignat, this strong guy pulling water from a well. Now get this, just a year ago, Ignat's house burned completely to the ground. His family barely made it out alive, they had to survive in cramped quarters all winter, and they've only just finished rebuilding with their bare hands and pretty much zero money. When Fyodor asks him if it was terrible, Ignat doesn't sugarcoat it. He says yes, but we stand and we smile. And the crazy thing is, he smiles genuinely. Contrast that with Fyodor, who's been whining about a draft in his fully intact house. Seeing Ignat's true, rock-solid resilience leaves Fyodor totally stunned.
The second encounter is with a woman named Praskovia. Now, she's a widow who lost her husband 3 years prior. She's got an old leg injury that never healed right, yet she somehow manages the entire household, does the market runs, and raises 2 kids plus an elderly mother all on her own. When Fyodor asks her how she handles the weight of all that, she's almost confused by the question. She tells him, "No time for self-pity. The children are watching how I live." Praskovia is deliberately using her resilience as a model for her kids. She completely refuses to indulge in complaints because she knows her kids are learning how to view the world right from her actions. For her, the fact that she has healthy kids and a living mother means everything is quote-unquote normal.
Finally, Fyodor meets an 83-year-old blind veteran just sitting quietly on a bench. This man has survived literal famine, war, and the tragic loss of his own son. Yet he's the one who delivers the absolute biggest revelation of this whole explainer. He tells Fyodor that, back in his youth, he used to complain about everything too. But when the war hit, he realized that all those mundane, boring things he used to complain about, those were actually profound moments of happiness. He just couldn't see it at the time. He thought, oh, I'll start really living once I get this or that. But he was already living. He just didn't notice. He looks right at Fyodor and tells him that complaining is basically a blindfold. While you wear it, your entire life just passes you by, completely unlived.
And that incredible realization leads us to Section 4, removing the blindfold.
Armed with these three incredibly powerful testimonies, Fyodor starts his long walk back home. Now, physically, the autumn landscape is exactly the same as it was that morning. The exact same dirt roads, the same smell of smoke in the air, but something deep inside Fyodor has completely shifted. It's described like this heavy stone slowly turning over in his mind. He starts to redefine what complaining actually is. He realizes it isn't truth-telling at all. It is a convenient, incredibly addictive habit that literally forces you to only notice what you lack, totally preventing you from seeing what you already have. It's a complete distortion of reality. The longer you let this habit run your life, the less of your actual life you get to experience, until absolutely nothing is left but a laundry list of grievances.
But here's the beautiful part. When that blindfold is finally ripped off, the exact same world looks entirely different. When Fyodor gets back, he really truly looks at his life. Sure, the house didn't magically stop being drafty, but now he feels the warmth of a standing home that, hey, hasn't burned down. The garden is small, yeah, but it's putting food on their plates. The kids are noisy, but that noise means they are alive and full of energy. His wife Varvara might have a tough exterior, but she is right there, constantly and silently caring for him. By just taking off that blindfold, his exact same reality is suddenly overflowing with all these tangible blessings.
And that incredible transformation brings us to our final section. Section 5, the power of gratitude.
So what happens next? Well, when Fyodor finally gets back to his property, his behavior is like night and day. Instead of sighing and mumbling complaints, he walks straight up to Varvara, takes this heavy bucket right out of her hands, and just helps her feed the chickens. He goes inside, and instead of shooing the noisy kids away, he gets down on the floor and plays with his youngest. Varvara looks at him completely bewildered and asks what on earth happened to him. Fyodor admits it. He finally realized he's always had a good life. He was just looking in the completely wrong direction. And Varvara, with this brilliant, deadpan honesty, just replies, "I've been telling you this for 10 years. So what's the big takeaway for us here? Happiness isn't found by constantly trying to change your circumstances. It's found by choosing to recognize the blessings that are already right in front of you. Active gratitude is the real game changer for daily contentment. Because if you're constantly waiting for the perfect circumstances to finally start enjoying your life, you are going to miss the life that is happening right now."
I want to leave you with this final, absolutely powerful thought to carry into your week. Life doesn't get better when you stop complaining. You just finally see that it was already good. Think about the blindfolds you might be wearing right this very second. What objectively good things in your life are you currently complaining about? Take off the blindfold, look around, and choose to see the good that is already there. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly, highly encourage you to take a moment today to just appreciate the simple fact that you are already living.